Okay, so we're entering now Kapana district, which perfectly preserves the street pattern, the street network of the medieval city. And you see a beautiful scenery with places there, people out on the street, places for pedestrians only. And you see how this human scale of the city, of the environment around, goes hand in hand with the life. You see that the sections, the crossings between one street and another are 10 meters. So it's a place for people. And I think during the history of Plovdiv it was very important that Plovdiv kept this street pattern and it wasn't destroyed. It wasn't always like this. This place looks this way for around 3 years. Before it, you can track where was the sidewalks and where was the street. So a few years ago, this was all packed with cars. It was a place where people avoided. Firstly, because it hadn't life in it. There were cars parked everywhere, so it was very difficult even for a pedestrian to go around. Because you imagine you have a lot of cars parked everywhere on both sides, and it was difficult for a car to pass in the middle, and for pedestrians it was very difficult to go into this neighborhood. And it was like a hidden spot that you can go, you can enjoy the old buildings and the environment here. It was a place that had enormous potential.
Kapana was a dead city. We were actually the only shop on this street, and by just before 2-3 years ago, all those streets were non-pedestrian. So pretty much it was a big parking lot with lots of ruined houses. However, I could see that there's a potential in the city center, as in every European city. And luckily we managed to survive for several years, and now we have these beautiful pedestrian streets. So everything is paying back.
A few years ago they revitalized the space, they removed all the parked cars, and you see the result. People are everywhere, you can sit and enjoy and relax, which was not possible 5 years ago. You can see the life. Once, as I said, it was a place for craftsmen and traders, and there are still places which keep the spirit on. And maybe you can notice the buildings that they are very narrow. They are 4 or 5 meters wide, and they're 2-3 stories. And this was all adapted to the life of the space. On the ground floor, there was the store, the shop. On the first floor, there was maybe the storage, and on the top floor, the craftsman is where the craftsman lived. And all the buildings in Kapana are like this. Okay. I've done my urban thesis a few years ago here for Kapana, right before the process of revitalization. So for me it was very interesting to see a place that can be so beautiful and to show so much of the history of the city. Because you're now walking into the city as it were a few centuries ago, with the small streets, with the human scale buildings. It is very important for the city to keep its environment. It is an open museum, let's say.
The city's living room.
The city's living room, yeah. Exactly. You arrange meetings to see some friends, and or at least me, I don't prefer to sit in some restaurant, but to sit in some place in the city outside, just to have a walk and enjoy our conversation, not to restrict ourselves to a seat, to a chair and a table.
your
And
TV.
yeah, to your TV, yeah. And this is very important, I think, for the cities in the future to create more spaces like this, that where you can feel at home, and you can just enjoy being there, and don't have the need to sit in a restaurant or a cafe, but to be out on the street, on the square, on the piazza. It's super cool to be here.